Wow. For more, we're joined by Fandango's Erik Davis. Let's start with Kathy Bates, since we just ended the piece with that. At her age, to get this kind of acclaim, I love that on the set, her co-workers had a big celebration for her to say congratulations. She was clearly very touched by it all. What does this say, Erik, at this time in her life for Kathy Bates?
I think it's wonderful.
Me too.
Yeah, she's an iconic actress, legendary, and I think it's great that she's recognized for Matlock, the network TV show. Not a lot of network TV shows are recognized.
Yes.
You know, so it's really wonderful to see Kathy Bates and also Harrison Ford at 83 with his first nomination.
Yes. Martin Scorsese, his daughter posted a picture. He was nominated. He's got his hands over his face, and she goes, "Our little actor." But let's talk about streaming and Severance in particular. 27 nominations. Wow.
Yeah, I would say it's the front runner right now. You know, if you look at the last few years at the Emmys, the series that has received the most amount of nominations has won the top category that it was nominated for. So the good news for Severance, it's not against a show like Shogun or Succession, both of which dominated this category, but it is against a show like The Pit, which is my personal favorite, and honestly is probably the buzziest new show at the Emmys this year.
Well, speaking of new shows, The Studio comes in, and we're talking about a great buzz around it, 23 nominations, but you said you were somewhat surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised that it was nominated. It's a fantastic show. But I was surprised at how many nominations. I mean, this tied the record for a comedy
Why
series.
did it surprise you? I loved it, because I think anything that takes you behind the scenes is always attractive to viewers.
Yeah, but, you know, sometimes Hollywood poking fun of itself can have mixed results.
That's true.
You know?
That is true.
Like a show like Entourage did get Emmy nominations, but it wasn't recognized in this kind of way. I think it received so many because of its guest stars.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot of cameos.
Yeah, it revolves around its guest stars, and that's where you see Martin Scorsese, Ron Howard with their first ever guest starring Emmy nominations, Anthony Mackie, Zoe Kravitz, Bryan Cranston. So the guest stars received a ton of nominations, as did the cast.
So White Lotus got 23 nominations. You might think that's enough to go around, but you say some of the actors got snubbed. Who?
Yeah,
Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Patrick Schwarzenegger
should have been nominated.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
But this show is an embarrassment of riches because the casts are so big, but the writing is so great that everyone has a meaty role. You know, and so you can't just nominate everyone. You know, and so if anything, it's almost at a disadvantage to have so many nominees because they're all kind of competing against each other.
We can end where we began with Kathy Bates, right? If she wins, it'll be the first time a network star in that kind of category won. What's the situation here with network versus streaming? It seems like streaming is getting the lion's share of these nominations.
It is. I mean, we see Abbott Elementary in there, but I also say, like, how many, you know, TikToks do you see of, like, Tracker or NCIS? You know, like, these shows are watched by a lot of people.
A ton.
Yeah.
But I see Abbott Elementary in my TikTok feed all the time. And so sometimes it's about influence and social media influencing the conversation. You know, the awards, it's a long trail.
So
and
Tracker,
social media sometimes.
Tracker fans, get on live.
Get on TikTok.
Dare make it
16 million people a week or 17 million
It's
people
the biggest
a week.
one.
CBS
Do you
Mornings,
dare
too.
make it? Do you dare make any predictions, Mr. Davis?
I mean, I think Severance or The Pit, you know, I think The Studio and Adolescence. We talked a little bit about
I love
Adolescence. I think
Adolescence,
that is going to take limited series.
All right, Erik Davis, thank you so much. We appreciate you. The 77th Annual Primetime Emmy Awards will air live Sunday, September 14th, here on CBS and, of course, streaming on Paramount+.